For the last decade, Chef David Gordon has promoted what he calls the tastiest of all the proteins: insects. Gordon's 2013 Eat a Bug cookbook offers 40 different ways to cook crickets, ants, and numerous other creatures. But Gordon's love for eating bugs didn't just jump out of nowhere. He is a chef dedicated to entomophagy, or the science of insect eating. And he's not alone in devouring creepy crawlies. NPR News on July 18, 2013 reports that 80% of the world's population already eats bugs. That other 20% are those of us in the United States, Canada, and Europe. So from a global point of view, we're the weirdos who don't eat grasshoppers for dinner. But why? Well, it's hard for Americans to embrace eating bugs, because if you eat an insect, all you're getting is an exoskeleton and internal organs, which really doesn't sound so appetizing. So that's why chefs are quickly compiling innovative ways to cook bug cuisine. The Eat a Bug cookbook features recipes such as Chirpy Check's Party Mix, Curried Termite Stew, and Aunt Jemima's Bug Griddle Cakes. But Gordon and chefs around the globe believe bugs don't only taste great, but could help feed the world's poor. With such a serious humanitarian cause at stake, it's imperative we examine to what extent our food perceptions are a social construct of our privileged global status. So today, we'll crawl deeper into the practice of entomophagy, then buzz through our cultural food perceptions, before finally sampling some tasty implications for edible insects, which the New Yorker of August 21st, 2013 states, is ready for its sushi moment. Although most Americans wouldn't eat a bug unless they were on Fear Factor, entomophagy is the potential wave of our culinary future. As such, we need to find out why people eat bugs, by first examining their nutritional benefits, and second, discussing the practicality of farming insects. Reuters on May 14, 2013 reports there are many nutritional benefits to entomophagy. The mopane caterpillar, for example, is common throughout the southern part of Africa. And in comparing the caterpillar to beef, beef has 6 milligrams of iron per 100 grams of weight, while the caterpillar packs a whopping 31 milligrams of iron per that same 100 grams. There are more than 1,900 insects worldwide that are actually extremely nutritious. Reuters even goes as far to say that if we embrace edible insects, we could drastically reduce the number of individuals facing chronic, obesity-related health issues. Second, insects are very practical to farm on a large scale. According to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization on May 31st, 2013, the best example of rearing insects for human consumption is cricket farming in Thailand. Crickets are reared just in backyard sheds, with simple materials like pet food, plastic bottles, and egg cartons. Families throughout Asia are able to harvest their own crickets. The current issue being researched is how to harvest year-round. In places like Thailand, insect farmers are only able to gather bugs a few months out of the year. But that problem might soon be solved, thanks to a group of students from Canada's McGill Business School, according to The Telegraph on September 24, 2013. This group received the Clinton Global Foundation's $1 million Holt Prize. The McGill students' plan include methods to distribute micro-livestock growing kits that allow individuals to grow insects in sanitary conditions year-round. So by providing the world's poor easy access to cost-effective insect growing kits, these students are potentially making tremendous progress toward ending world hunger. But it's quite possible those facts and statistics didn't exactly get your mouth watering to sample some bugs. So, we will next examine the cultural influences that pervade our understanding of food. We can delve into this in 2 key ways. First, how the appearance of food affects our perception of it, and second, the cultural influences associated with food. Initially, in his previously mentioned Eat a Bug cookbook, Chef David Gordon wants to make bugs not only taste great, but appear more appetizing. Our assumption that bugs aren't fit for consumption is reinforced by the perceived grotesque appearance of insects. So to elevate this culinary experience, chefs focus on the aesthetic quality of how food looks on a plate, and Gordon applies this to his bug dishes. For example, this shish kebab seen here is made with grasshoppers. But by altering its appearance visually on the plate, Gordon's able to make the dish look very appetizing. And in the same way that he's able to transform a plate of grasshoppers before our eyes, he's even able to make a tarantula look tempting by deep frying it and sprinkling it with smoked paprika. So by cooking up thoughtful insect dishes, chefs are also reinforcing a completely different way of looking at bug cuisine. Second, the Scientific American of July 24, 2013 illuminates how we take in nutrients from our foodstuffs, but we also absorb those cultural associations connected with them. The article uses hot dogs and hamburgers as the typification of culturally American foods. But in this context of feelings that we associate with our food, insects seem like a last resort choice. We aren't culturally trained to distinguish between good insects and bad insects, so it's just easier to cast all bugs as unfit for consumption. But the thing is, we already do eat bugs. Salon on June 5th, 2013 reports that try as we might with chemically engineered poisons, bugs crawl all over our food. When we package and harvest our crops, trace amounts of insects come along for the ride. So with bugs already on our plate, challenging our bias against entomophagy might be more than just food for thought. Entomophagy is challenging our food perceptions in profound ways, and we must digest two implications as a result. First, how edible insects have the potential to help eradicate world hunger, and second, how our more liberal food boundaries will help us look at food with fresh eyes. Initially, we've already discussed how the UN believes insect farming might be a more efficient way to tackle world hunger. But the report also mentions that by 2050, it is widely accepted that the world will host 9 billion people. To accommodate this number, current food production will need to almost double. To be prepared, the UN says we need a more dependable food source. Insects are extremely efficient in converting feed into edible meat. On average, insects can convert 4.4 pounds of feed into 2.2 pounds of meat. By comparison, cattle require 17.6 pounds of feed to produce that same 2.2 pounds of meat. So by changing our social framework, we could potentially be more prepared to tackle the food crises of today and tomorrow. Additionally, the Al Jazeera on November 20th, 2013 points out that as our minds become more open to more foods over time, we can discover unimaginably delicious cuisine. Phil Therese, an entomologist interviewed by Al Jazeera, argues that even lobster was considered a trash food hundreds of years ago. But as our food perceptions changed, so too did the cultural evaluation of lobster. As lobster became a delicacy, its natural population has drastically decreased. However, Therese is confident that because of the way insects are farmed, their population would not be so threatened, even if there was a huge swarm of insect eaters. Bugs could even be the delicacy of tomorrow. Join me in eating a cricket yourself, a truly delicious edible insect. By having an open mind, we can truly revolutionize the way we think about food. Today we analyzed entomophagy, then took a closer look at our own food perceptions, before finally stuffing our face with some implications. Chef David Gordon might be looked at as a nut job today for trying to make eating bugs catch on, but he might just be the forward thinker that the culinary world ordered. And who knows? It might not be so bad to grab your fork the next time you see a gnat, instead of your fly swatter.